Malaysian 370, contact Ho Chi Minh 120.9. Good night.
Good night, Malaysian 370.
Breaking news tonight, a Malaysia Airlines flight with 239 people on board, including 4 Americans, has gone missing.
I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds."
Hey, what's up, chat? Hello, everybody. We are here. Yeah, thanks for being here. So right away in the chat, we've got somebody mentioning that seems like a lot of people have swallowed the debunking. I think that's true, right? I think that a lot of people have. Somebody else clipped me, some random no-name podcast person as well, and they were talking about us. It's pretty funny how many people are actually talking about me directly as well, though, in the case, right? I think that there's a lot of people that desperately want it to be fake, and they're projecting their insecurities about it pretty hard. So that's why I made a little clip today about it. We'll look at that. We may also even look at, now that I think about it, the letter to Ash in Forbes one more time, because it's really interesting. Let me make a couple notes here. So what are we going to do tonight, chat? First of all, welcome back. I'm back from a couple-day break here. Whoa, that's my dog in the background. She's angry. She's angry. Let's see. You guys hear that? Making some noises back there. Lulu is. We're going to go over Tucker Carlson angry in the UFO community. There's a little drama. It's pretty weird how there seems to be all these connections. We'll go over very briefly. We're not going to spend a lot of time on it. We're going to take a look at Corbell. We're going to look at all the recent posts out there. We're going to take a look at a new Reddit rule that was posted today on the Debunker subreddit. We've got FOIAs that were put in. Lots of new stuff out there, guys. Is Lulu even real? Yeah, right. What are your thoughts on the Peru-Mexican body discovery? I don't know. Is that the new one, or I'm not sure. I think it's really interesting. I think that it could be legit. And, more to come. It's not my investigation, so my opinion means very little on that front. Did I look at the overhead shot of the antenna at the Howard E. Holt station? I have no idea what you're talking about. Just came from a live stream MH370 non-believers. Yeah, I think that basically there's a literal, like, the irony is there's a literal cult built around Mick West, like an actual cult of people that look up to him for every answer for everything in the world. It's super weird, and it's been ongoing for many years. He's built up his own little cult following of, like, complete people that would drink Kool-Aid for him, 100%. And for them, everything is either a balloon or a Chinese lantern or whatever. Like, that, no matter what it is, it's a balloon or a Chinese lantern. Like, or what is it, skydivers with rockets attached to them or whatever, these, like, fireworks attached to them. It's just, it's always like the same nonsensical stuff. I generally, you can email me at MH370x at proton.me. I'm like 2 weeks behind on emails. Okay, let's dig into it, chat. Let's get started. We got a lot of stuff to go through tonight. I don't want to be up all night. So let's start with Corbell. Let me get my headphones on. Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about Chris Leto a little bit as well. So, man, Chris Leto's been on one chat. Yeah, and this is a random comment that's pretty appropriate. Your real problem is you're a normie who propelled himself onto the UFO community. You could say the same about anyone. I think that the hate in general has gone down a little bit. To be honest with you, it's gone down a little bit from where it was before, but this is absolutely, it's all gatekeeping behavior, right? And this is why I always reference Reddit, because I would bet you almost anything that all these people that hate on us on Twitter are all Redditors, right? Some of them are moderators. I think somebody was mentioning some Richard Gelgrick guy or whatever his name is, and he's for sure a Reddit moderator, like no question whatsoever. You can just tell right away. You can tell right away. So, yeah, we're going to look at Chris Leto stuff. So we're going to look at a little bit of, I don't know if you want to call it drama or news updates. We're going to keep this thing a little bit more streamlined tonight. I don't think Leto is manic. I think that he's kind of experiencing like a level of enlightenment is what I would call it, where you get to a point where you realize that there's a bunch of stuff that's true that you didn't know about, and it's really exciting. Like, it happened to me when the MH370 stuff first revealed itself, when I first started to realize that, oh, this aligns with double slit experiment, rebuilding the wave function, all this stuff that seemed silly. And then I want to talk to my parents about it, my family, and, you know, they're all CNN brain people. So, you know, they're like, oh, you must be going crazy or whatever, right? But, you know, that's not the case, right? And that's why, too, my post about that I made earlier, and let's just watch that first, actually. Because this is why this post is so important here. I want to go ahead and address some of the narratives that I'm seeing out there on social media. First of all, I think that there's this perception that I'm an unreasonable person or stuck in my beliefs. And to that, I would say, you know, if you just talk to me, I think that you'll find that I'm a person who's very reasonable, very logical and rational type person. I have turned down 0 podcast requests because I'm willing to talk to anybody out there anytime. Secondly, you've got people out there saying that I have mental health problems. That's really offensive in general. I mean, there's a lot of people struggling with mental health, and I think it's really easy to try to demonize people with false mental health allegations. It's one of the lowest things you can possibly do. So, you know, just don't do that in general. There's also even people saying that I potentially faked the videos, which is really bizarre. Like, I don't even know where to begin with that level of absurdity. These are some of the same people saying that. So just real quick, you know, a lot of people to demonize people will say that they have mental health problems. You can see them doing it to Chris Leto right now as well. They're saying that he's, you know, had a psychic break, all this stuff. Like, that's really just toxic behavior. It's honestly like the worst stuff you can say about people that are like, even if it was true, it'd be terrible to say. But, you know, in the case for me, for sure, I don't have any mental health issues. And that's why, too, like the people, sometimes I really rarely I get people message me and direct message me and say, like, I'm worried about your mental health or whatever. Like, if you do that to me, you're definitely being unfollowed, and you might just get blocked as well, because it's just absolutely disgusting behavior to ever do that to somebody. Worry about yourself is my opinion. And just because people like have beliefs that you don't agree with does not mean that they have mental health issues. It's just one of the worst possible things. It is offensive on so many levels because there's a lot of people out there that actually have real mental health problems that need help. And so, yeah, when you do that kind of stuff, it's, really lowbrow. I've fallen down the rabbit hole. There's no feasible way and then there's people out there. So I don't really like naming people or giving them credit and stuff like that. But and I messaged Chris Leto in general because I wanted to let him know that I think he's right, that there is a unified field theory out there, right? And there definitely is. I mean, our investigation has shown that probably multiple people have independently determined there is a unified field theory out there. And so, you know, whether or not he's correct on it, like I think he's reached the point where he's realized it's real, right? And he's just really excited about it. That's my current impression of how he is. So there's this guy who's been posting on, his podcasts have been getting posted on Reddit a lot. His name's Pat, I think, from the Vetted podcast. He's been spamming his dumb daily little updates all over the Reddit, all over UFOB and stuff like that. And He went on somebody else's podcast and he was trying to say that he thinks that I made the videos. Like, that's his explanation. Like, to me, that's the ultimate level of copium, right? Where it's like, you realize there's something to the videos and you can't explain how they can be real without me somehow being at the center of it. It makes no sense at all. Like, first of all, I have no CGI skills whatsoever. I've been in healthcare my whole life. I can barely even edit a YouTube video. What you see here is the limits of my technical capabilities when it comes to this stuff. So ever that I could have made these. The irony there is that if I were to, like, people, like, they find the case so compelling that and then what his argument was is like, oh, Ashton knows that no hoaxer will come forward. Yeah, and here's my challenge. To anyone who thinks that I made the videos, okay, prove it. Right? Prove it. I'm streaming like every day. Find some evidence that I somehow made the videos. Good luck, right? Because it doesn't exist. Just like the hoaxer doesn't exist. And the problem is they realize that there is no hoaxer. So they're trying to figure out how there could be a hoaxer. And this is the irony of, like, there's several people trying to say that, like, I fell down the rabbit hole or whatever, which is really ironic because, like, I go out of my way not to. Like, I get pinged about 9/11 conspiracies like 10 times a day now, right? I've got people who want to link the case to MH17, you know, and I don't. And the reality is I'm not really a conspiracy guy, right? I just happen to be involved in this particular case. For anyone out there, I will not be doing anything about 9/11 or any conspiracies related to that whatsoever. I may talk to other people that have their own theories, but I will not be doing any investigation into it. Just so that's out of the way. And I think it's a bigger conspiracy that I would somehow be the one who created these videos 10 years ago to cash in on them now, and I'm not cashing in on any way, shape, or form. Pretty damn absurd. Also, anybody who thinks the Corridor crew are some sort of authority on anything, you need to get your mind right, man. I mean, wow. If guys with stupid looking glasses on sitting on a couch splicing in cartoons into their, like, when they try to talk down to other people is your idea of high culture and that's where you're going to get your opinions, you got to really reevaluate your life, man. Like, really reevaluate your life. I mean, that is just embarrassing, just to be honest with you guys. Like, I don't prejudge anybody, but I've looked at several of their videos and it's stuff made for like 8-year-olds. Like, for people that have no capability to think for themselves whatsoever. I was able to debunk Nico on the spot, taking half as much time as he took, because every single thing he said was wrong. Like, just objectively wrong. Like, not a matter even of opinion. Like, I honestly don't think those guys are even literally VFX artists. That's how dumb I think they are. I would happily do a debate with them on any topic out there, on anything. MH370, DOD, FLIR, Navy videos, literally anything I would debate them on. That's how little I'm threatened by them. So let's move on to some other stuff. Videos Malaysian government is covering up. Oh, so here's the other part too, is that if anybody says that they think that these videos are fake, just ask them, what do they think happened to the plane? And then they're going to say, oh, well, it crashed into the ocean with some suicidal pilot. What, the Malaysian government's covering that up? Like, what are you talking about? Like, that's a conspiracy. So you're saying, okay, this conspiracy is not correct, the one that's supported by 14 pages of evidence, but the conspiracy that the Malaysian government didn't want people to know that it was a suicide? Why? There's no evidence for it. Literally none whatsoever. No evidence. Everybody has said he's passed all his mental health screenings. He had no issues with his wife. His wife is supporting him. They're like, oh, well, it's Asia. They're trying to save face. That's not really how it works in, like, Malaysia. Maybe if it was, like, Japan. But even then, it makes no sense at all, right? Just completely bizarre. And for other people to say that we are going down a conspiracy, will you believe a literal conspiracy that has no evidence, that none of the reports have stated is accurate? Like, that, doesn't that just kind of, like, make you a hypocrite? A suicidal pilot when there's no actual evidence for it, and that all these officials are covering up for it. Next, I want to address the UFO community and the way that both sides seem to talk past each other, from the skeptic side to the believer side, where everybody just makes little videos about one another, but nobody ever engages one another. I think it's a big problem with the community. And I see it firsthand when I see these YouTubers and what have you making posts about me, but they're too afraid to come into interview and podcast requests and talk against me, including one that happened the other day where the host was telling me they were getting little emails from one of these debunkers out there telling them what to say, like little child stuff. Like, be a man and come and face me face to face, and let's talk out the arguments. I'm willing to go out there and talk to podcasters, answer any questions, no matter if they're on my side or if they're hostile or what have you. So if you're confident in your debunks, then you should be willing to do the same thing. And if you aren't, then your ideas don't stand up to scrutiny. And just lastly, so, one thing I think you guys have probably noticed it as well in, especially the UFO community in general, is everybody's just talking past each other. Nobody ever interacts with the other side. It's just, and this is what Keemstar brought up that I've been thinking about more and more, and he's so right about it. This is why Skyfire News and having Keemstar in the UFO community is the best thing to happen in the UFO community. Because you just have sides talking past each other. Nobody ever interacts. They ignore one another. They make little YouTube videos about the other one, and they just gaslight the other side. Like, I can't even tell whether or not Luizondo is part of ATIP, because you got Stephen Greenstreet claiming adamantly that he wasn't and doesn't exist. And you've got the other side saying, no, he's a liar and that. It's just like, man, can we just get people in the room where we can just hash out the details? I mean, it's a verifiable thing. Like, shouldn't we just be able to figure it out, right? And then what happened the other day on the podcast is Mick West dodged another podcast with me. This is the third podcast he's dodged now. Mick West has dodged 3 podcasts, but it's not like he wasn't available. He sent a bunch of emails to the host trying to get him to have me address like the VFX debunk, have me address the jittery contrails or whatever, but he won't come and do it himself because presumably he's afraid, because he knows that he's not going to have any rational arguments. He's going to look like a fool. It's like, come on, man. Like, come on. Like, at least be a man. Man up, dude. Seriously. It's getting embarrassing at this point. I want to say that I've had several opportunities to walk away from the case, but it wouldn't have been truthful and it wouldn't have been true to myself. And that's the reason why I haven't. I just want to keep in mind that I'm just a normal person with my own opinions on everything that's going on in the world. And I'm covering some of those things that I find interesting in general. But the case is not going away until we get a resolution from the U.S. government. I think that we need to hold ourselves to a higher... So just like it was said there, I'm just going to repeat this again. Like, I could have easily walked away from this case, probably had people going, you're so big for walking away, kind of like Jimmy Corsetti in the interview on the same day the cloud debunk came out. I could have said, yep, it's all fake, guys, blah, 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 whatever, we're moving on. And people would be like, Ashton is so brave for stepping up, admitting that, and moving on to the next thing. And I had Kim.com going, I want you to help out with this thing that I've got going on, blah, blah, blah. But the reality is, like, I would have been a fraud if I did that. That would have been a fraud. And I wouldn't have been able to live with myself in that situation. That's why I didn't. That's the reality of the situation, right? And standard in this UFO community, if you want to prove the disclosure is real, then we need to move away from everything being balloons or Chinese lanterns or all these other lazy debunks that are out there. If this conspiracy of UFO disclosure is real, then some of the stuff that's out there is real, and it's being debunked under false pretenses. So everybody should elevate their standards a little bit. And if so, maybe we'll get what we're looking for. And then the last part is probably the most important part, right? The skeptics, the debunkers, they are lamer than everybody else. Like, it's always a balloon. They just use confirmation bias to fit into one of their 3 things. It's either a balloon, it's a Chinese lantern, or skydivers with jetpacks or whatever every single time, right? Like, literally no critical thinking whatsoever ever used, just lazy nonsense. And I say that as somebody who's happy to help debunk, but like, it's just the standards are so low, right? And then you have the people who are the believers who just go along with it. Like, yep, Mick West said this one's a balloon too. Let's move on, right? You're never, ever, ever going to get what you want if that's the level of your discourse. Like, Mick West never addressed anything, but he made a video about it where he talks past everyone and claims that we're going to move on, guys, so we're all going to do it. And it's like the cultists go, yep, that's my hero. He told me what to think. And then the other side goes, well, this Mick West spoke on this. I guess we'll move on to the next one. So it's like I can partially sympathize with where we're going to be going here with Corbell and Corbell's attitude. So let's take a look at Corbell's stuff. I think this is it.
Have come kind of intellectually they've come to the defense of truth. And I've really, really liked that. There's a dude named Lester online.
Oh.
And I think he lives in LA.
So, where's the Corbell? I don't even know where it is. Maybe look up Tubacabra. So Tubacabra made a funny clip. We'll just post that. It's close enough. It's close enough. Where is it? Oh, there's a... Oh, we missed that. Here we go.
Be myself, you always say. Look, man, from zero to Jeremy, what's my freedom to speak here, George?
Go for it.
Yeah, be myself, you always say, right? Cool.
It's your birthday.
Thank you.
It's his birthday. We wish him
Total
happy birthday twice.
fucking horse shit.
Oh, we're gonna
And
get
Kirkpatrick is a piece of dog shit. Total fucking horse shit. He's a suit. Is a liar. Is a piece of dog shit. Total fucking horse shit. He's a suit. Is a liar. Is a piece of dog shit. So let's get into the lies. But he's a liar.
He stuck a shiv right in the ribs of his own organization.
You omit information, that's still a lie. So check this out. There's an information war. This is disinformation. This is a disinformation tour. Total fucking horse shit. He's a suit. Is a liar. Is a piece of dog shit. I don't know if I was forceful enough, George.
I don't think we're going to be
that's how I
monetizing this
feel.
stream.
That's pretty
I think
good.
we're going to hit the censors on that one. But yeah, Tupa, that's a great jam, Tupa, if he's out there. But yeah, I can kind of sympathize with, okay, so obviously this is just little child stuff, yelling and talking crap about one another, right? But you can kind of sympathize with Corbell and why he doesn't address a lot of the people as well, because he sees that all his lazy stuff out there, it's not even worth him addressing half the stuff if everybody's just going to say everything's a balloon. It's just super lazy, right? Okay. Did he name drop a lot of people in that? That's fine. Okay, next thing. Okay, are we on to Chris Leto? Yeah. Okay, Chris Leto. So Chris Leto's been, man, he's been on one, huh? So Chris Leto believes he's found a unification theory. So he's been posting pretty rapid fire in general. I watched part of his clip, his video that he put out there, which is, I don't know, somewhere out here. Did he not even post it on his YouTube or post it on his Twitter? I don't think he did. Boy, he's been going at it though. So here's the reality, man. We've already independently figured out that there is a unification theory out there. I don't know if it's about love, but I think he's just using that as an analogy in general. And there has to be a unification theory. I mean, there has to be a way to connect quantum mechanics with general relativity. And hey, everybody who's out there, nice to see you guys tonight, by the way. I didn't say hello. So Chris Leto's probably figured something out where in his mind he's realized he's achieved some sort of enlightenment related to some of this. And I'm happy for him in that respect, you know. I think that once you reach this level, you'll start to realize that stuff like teleportation is possible. But like a lot of people say, you want to be sure not to fall into the rabbit hole of every single thing in the world is connected. And because even if it is, and I've said this multiple times, it's not really, like, you're going to lose too many people when you start digging into that. Even when I think you start to talk about some of the sacred geometry stuff, even though it may be correct, probably is. At the same time, if you get too much into that, people are going to start thinking, oh, you're out there in the woo, right? It's more important that you just simply show how it works. And if that's because it's toroids or some other sacred shapes, then great. But once you start digging into everything's, connected, you start to lose a lot of people. So I support Chris Leto. I don't think we should be calling him crazy or whatever, disturbed, all this stuff that people are saying out there. Just let the man cook. Just let him cook, folks. Let him cook. He's not saying anything that would lead us to believe he's going to hurt himself or anything like that. So let him do his thing, man. Okay. I'm going to try not to breathe too much into the mic too. Apparently I've been doing that. Let's see what else we got. I want to keep this flowing. Okay, I think we're moving on to some of the more recent posts here. Hey, Trajan, welcome. Welcome, Trajan. Okay, we talked about that. Moneypenny did this post that basically shows that spoofing, hacking, and jamming are all capabilities that have definitely been out there. So it's kind of like, wait a minute. we've got all this stuff that's out there that you could like spoof the signal, you can take control of the plane. Like this basically proves everything related to all these investigations that are out there, guys. Pretty wild. One real quick thing as well, like I don't even care. Like, okay, now we're gonna wait to talk about that after this. Let's go on to the rest of the stuff. Okay, so I made this post about the Tucker Carlson thing. This might be one of the first things I really report on outside of MH370. I just think that I'm anti-war in general. I don't think there's any need for it. I also think there's a huge amount of propaganda related to Russia in general in the Western media, like a just ridiculous amount. And you don't even have to look that far to see it. Like the people basically prove that by the people responding. Some people sent me some links. I got blocked by several people just for posting this. Like, what? Listen to my messages. End the war in Ukraine. No more proxy wars. No more needless death. No more propaganda by the Western media. Free speech, not censorship. How are you going to block somebody for that? What is there to disagree with? No, I need more propaganda. More anti-Russia propaganda in my media. Like, yikes, guys. Come on, man. Come on. It's a little ridiculous. Like, Tucker Carlson's a journalist. He can talk to whoever he wants. And if you're trying to gatekeep the type of people he's allowed to talk to, that only shines poorly on you. That's just that simple. Absolutely ridiculous. Do you think that it's too dangerous to even have somebody talk to Tucker Carlson and to have Putin be allowed to speak so that we can actually hear the words from his own mouth directly instead of all this indirect bullshit? This is directly related to the post I made later on about people are like making all these false statements about me, but they won't talk to me directly. It's the same problem. This is what we need. Less bullshit in terms of people talking past each other and making up fake narratives, and more people talking directly to one another. And to Kathy's point in the chat, I've independently also determined, especially part of this investigation, that United States, our media is no better than Russia or China. We are being fed misinformation and disinformation on a daily basis. If you are watching cable news, doesn't matter which one you're watching, you're getting programmed by nonsense. Simple as that. It is. It's exactly about message control. It's an information war, 100%. It's about message control. Absolutely. And I think a lot of people have been saying too, under old leadership at Twitter, this whole thing would have been censored. And then it just proves the whole point, right? This whole conversation would have been censored under old Twitter. And that just proves exactly. And that was because the Twitter files showed that the FBI was literally controlling what was on Twitter. The FBI paid Twitter $3.5 million for the privilege of censoring people on Twitter. It's actually ridiculous that did not get more attention. $3.5 million for the right to censor people, paying from the FBI to Twitter. What? Unbelievable, guys. I reposted the Steve Quast thing earlier as well. This was making the rounds, in terms of him talking about transporting a human being from one place to the other place, and talking about wireless power and all this stuff. Like, the reality is, guys, we just have to listen to the people out there telling us the advanced technology is real. All we have to do is listen. They're out there. They're telling us the advanced technology is real. They're talking about stuff like teleportation or stuff that's basically the equivalent. They're talking about all these advanced science concepts that we've been bringing up, and we've just been ignoring them. I mean, that's the crazy part. All we have to do is listen. The information's all out there. Then we had Paul Henry Nargelet. I'm probably butchering his name. This is crazy. This guy died in the submarine, in the Titan sub. He actually died in the Titan sub, this guy that we're looking at right here on the screen. And he sits here and explains the exact thing that we independently figured out, which is that a plane cannot land in the ocean. It is going to rip apart in 1,000 pieces. And he just says that. And he ends it with such a huge point. Basically just saying that if we didn't find a debris field, the plane didn't crash there. That's really, really simple, guys. Hey, thanks, my channel. I'm going to take a look at that after the stream. I'm about 100, 200 emails behind, so I'm going to take a look at that after the stream. Yeah, I mean, it's simple, guys. If we did not find a debris field, plane didn't crash there. Simple as that, right? And then the CNN guys even like, well, where's the debris then? How have we not seen a cushion, right? Let's just use common sense. Common sense. Look at all this area that's searched. And this doesn't even really account for the aerial. I mean, you can see for hundreds of miles. If there was a debris field somewhere, we would have found it, 100%. It's also pretty damn weird this guy died in the Titan sub. I mean, I hate that word synchronicities. Is that what it is? But, whoa, that's weird. This guy was literally talking about the plane couldn't have crashed without a debris field. And he even talks about, this part too is misunderstood, but the those black boxes, they transmit on a very specific frequency that cannot be mixed up with anything else. There was some misinformation that there were some pings that they thought might be the black boxes, and they knew they weren't the black boxes. They knew because the pings literally transmit on an extremely specific frequency. So they would have known right away if it was that. I think it's like 35 megahertz or something like that, or kilohertz. I don't really know, but or 3.5 kilohertz. I can't remember. So there's so much nonsense related to like the stuff that came out, these random pings that the media is running with, like, oh, maybe they found the plane. Like, they knew there was no chance. The media just lies nonstop. Somebody had made a post, Randy1 Correa, whatever, said they wanted to apologize for me. This is probably the first apology I've ever seen on Twitter in general related to the case. So I felt like it was important to highlight something specific, which is that nobody needs to apologize to me. As much as I appreciate the sentiment, hey UFO chick, hey William, hey everybody who's jumped in the chat, as much as I appreciate the apology sentiment, it's not what I'm looking for. All I'm looking to do is enlighten people, have people who are open-minded realize that there is advanced technology out there that is being kept hidden from us. So I appreciate that, but I don't need people to apologize. I don't need the bunkers to apologize either if they ever even, they never would, but I don't need that either. I'm not looking for that in general. So I did post this thing on sonoluminescence that we're probably going to get to tonight if we have time. There is some science I want to go over. If not, we're going to go over it tomorrow. Now, that's a good question, James, which I will address in a minute because I like that question in general. I'll write it down. Okay, let me see what else we got to address, though, before we get to that. Okay, and then I think the last one is the letter to Stephen Greer. Actually, the Muhammad Ali. If you guys didn't check out this Muhammad Ali clip, Muhammad Ali was a great man. I wish I would have met him. He's on, is this Jimmy Carson, I think, right? This is like the biggest late night show at all in like the world. And Jimmy Carson is just like basically ridiculing him. And he does not conform, guys. He does not conform. Like, he's just like, nope, I've got videos of it. It just reminded me a little bit of our case where it's like, Ashton, why won't you give it up? Why won't you move on, right? Well, it's because I'm looking at the evidence, man. Like, your ridicule and your, you know, silly, weak debunks don't do anything. They don't address the evidence, right? Man, Muhammad Ali this is my favorite clip from Muhammad Ali. Oh, it's Johnny Carson, sorry. I don't know why I said Jimmy. This is my favorite clip from Muhammad Ali ever. Really love this clip. It's great, man. I mean, Mike Tyson was also great as well. We might do some Mike Tyson stuff later. I love Mike Tyson. And yeah, people I find interesting, you can check that podcast out. I've got podcasts set up tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. It's going to be a busy end of the week chat. We've got quite a few requests still coming in as well, and I'm trying to take all of them, but I got to have breaks here and there. Okay, letter to Stephen Greer as well. I'm not going to read it all out just because I don't want to spend too much time on this, but wrote this letter to Stephen Greer. I think it got, lots of attention, 120,000 views. Wow. You know, and I think that this letter can also be used as like getting people back on board with the facts around the case out there and why it's so compelling. I think the biggest one that came up recently is that there is one more that we need to go to. The biggest one is this one here. The telemetry data was not made public until May 27th, 2014. What? May 27th, 2014? We're going to do a follow-up on this tomorrow. I'm going to retweet this tomorrow because it's such an important detail. The videos were received March 12th. This CNN post right here is dated March 14th. This was the first time that they began to consider that the plane even went into the South Indian Ocean. This post dates the supposed receive date on the videos. The telemetry data, the 47-page report, was published a week after the videos were published. The videos were confirmed published by May 19th. The telemetry data wasn't made public until May 27th. How would somebody know what coordinates to put in the bottom left of this video right here, chat? How do I make it go away? There's coordinates in the bottom left. How do they know? How did they know a week before it was available? They just guessed? What? Did they just guess or what? It makes no sense. So this is pretty damning evidence. To me, this is as damning as any of the debunks by far. Like, debunkers now have to explain how this person who made these videos, who doesn't ever show themselves, doesn't want $150,000, now they're a Bitcoin billionaire with VFX skills better than Marvel Studios and the people who made Top Gun Maverick, that knew science better than Eric Weinstein and a bunch of PhDs that understood engineering of the plane in order to get the plane to be accurate in 2 different videos at 2 different distances. Oh, and they have precognition. They see the future as well. It's like, I mean, come on, guys. The requirements are huge for these to be fake now. So I'm guessing they'll say like, oh, well, I was thinking like, what could they even possibly say about this? Like, I'm guessing they're going to say that they just guessed on the right location. Because if people were there 9 years ago, we were so confused as to what was going on. Like, we didn't think that... We thought the plane was in the South Indian Ocean, or South China Sea, till, like, March 14th. I read this report that the CNN links in here, and it says they're moving the investigation, moving the search on March 12th. So for 6 days, they're still searching, in the South China Sea. And then people are thinking like, well, why would it make this weird turn up into the Nicobar Islands? It should just go straight over Indonesia if it's going to the South Indian Ocean. So people don't realize like there was no community public understanding of where the plane went, right? It wasn't until weeks and weeks later. So super bizarre. So anyway, I wrote this to Stephen Greer. I think that there's enough evidence linked it together here that people should be interested. Now, the big pushback from the higher-ups is like, well, I want first-hand accounts, right? Well, the guy went to frickin' prison, man. Edward C. Lewin went to prison for 6 years. If you want a first-hand account, go talk to him. Go find him. I don't want to harass him. I really don't want to harass him. I'm not sure he can even legally talk about it to people, right? But if you are one of these big UFO people with clout, or you are the government like the AARO who I've talked to, or if you are Jeremy Corbell, like, go use your resources, man. Talk to Edward C. Lynn. Figure out what he was sent to prison for. It's not public. Is it the videos? Because if it is, game over. That's the best videos you're ever going to get in your whole life. We're probably never going to see videos better than this, unless another Edward C. Lynn comes out and goes to prison for a bunch of years, right? Okay. Uh-oh, where's that CNN thing? I can't lose that. Oh, no. Okay, there we go. Okay, what else we got? Thanks for being here with us tonight, chat. Appreciate you. Okay, somebody asked me what my opinion on cloning is. I guess we're talking about cloning. So cloning was outlawed, I believe, under the Bush administration in the early 2000s. And my impression was that it should not be outlawed, that we should push the limits of science that's out there. And it's weird that it got cloned because it makes me wonder if people are afraid of studying it. Kind of like when you study twins, identical twins. Like, you know, you would definitely not have the same consciousness, but if we look at dogs and we see how we can pass down hereditary traits in dogs, and like even my dog has weird behaviors that are definitely passed down, it does make me wonder how much of our personality is inherent and how much of it is related to the environment. Psychology would teach you that it's 50-50. And that's just a guess. They're just guessing. They don't really know. So I do think that cloning is a very interesting topic, and I think it should be open. Yeah, Lex Friedman, I think that a lot of the big podcasters have been turned off by the debunks. That's my opinion. Is that a lot of the podcasters don't want to be embarrassed talking about something where many people think that it's fake, which is kind of weird to think about because these people talk about stuff like psychic powers and remote viewing and lots of esoteric stuff. And I'm just sitting here talking about literal conspiracy. So it's pretty bizarre. But again, like, I'm not really that worried about it. What did he just say about Inmarsat? Yeah, we've got some Inmarsat stuff to look at too later, potentially. We've got a lot of stuff to go over, guys. I'm trying to go through it quickly. So the thing is, guys, I'm not in a rush for any of this stuff. The reality is I'm very, very confident that the science is going to check out and that more and more scientific papers are going to come out that are going to prove that this type of stuff is real. And when teleportation gets proven to be real on a macro scale, boom, there will be a sea change. People are going to go, whoa, maybe we should go look at those MH370 videos again, right? How does a plane crash into the ocean without leaving a debris field, right? The thing that's holding people back is their own preconceptions of what's possible in science and their own preconceptions of what's possible from reality. And when that changes, I think that people will be a lot more open to the videos, and I'm not really worried about it, right? And what I'll say is I had somebody else who's pretty big reach out to me via DM and kind of talk to me about what it would take to get people back on board with a lot of this stuff. And my approach was, well, like, I don't really care that much, right? Like, I'm a little bit glad that some of the heat is off from respect to this. We've already made our impression, right? People know when they talk about MH370 on Twitter, they know who I am. They know about the case. They know the stuff that we've been doing, right? And I think that my true opinion is that most of the world's not ready. Most of the world's not ready for this. That's my true opinion on it. I think that we've got many more years to go before people are going to be ready for this type of thing because it is so earth-shattering in terms of reality being a construct, that there's some underlying matrix to our reality, even though it's basically proven with science already. Holographic principle, in my opinion, is already proven. Holographic principle leads to the unification theory of quantum and macro. But, you know, people just aren't ready for it. Hey, Bernie, welcome, buddy. Appreciate you. Yeah, feel free to hit that like button. Appreciate you guys. Okay, so I think we've talked about that. We talked about that. Okay. Next thing. Ugh. Reddit. Ugh. Yuck. So, new Reddit rule. I have to comment on this. Pretty weird. So, there's a new Reddit rule on the debunker subreddit. Now, why am I commenting on this? Due to increase in mockery on this sub, we have introduced rule number 5. Mockery or insults based on an individual's belief in the video legitimacy will result in a ban. Repeated violations of the rule will result in a permanent ban. This is literally the thing they banned me over. This is what they banned me over. So if you guys are not familiar, you haven't been following along since, I think I was banned from this subreddit back in like October, early October or September or something like that. And there was all this drama because the sides started fighting a lot and people were just, everyone was putting everybody else down. And so then I made a post saying that if the admins are listening and watching, I'm willing to become a moderator of this subreddit. And what I would do is institute a new rule that you must attack the argument and not the person. That's literally what I posted. I can probably go find it, right? And you know what happened? Everybody said that I'm trying to take over the subreddit and ban all the debunkers. They're just trying to gaslight. I'm like, literally, I just want to institute a new rule. That's literally this rule. The best irony is the moderators that posted this rule are the ones that were literally doing this. Every single one of my posts, they would immediately tag with speculation or potential scammer or all this bullshit and everything where people are like, even recently, ones where people are just literally insulting me, that the whole post is insulting me. They had multiple threads or posts about how Ashton's, whatever crazy kind of stuff. They let all those go, even though they're not even related to the topic at hand. Now they're doing a 180. Okay, well, maybe I'm going to change my mind about accepting apologies. I think that the moderators of this subreddit, if they want to apologize, maybe I will accept that. Because what the hell? I mean, I'm glad they're doing it. We're about like 4 months too late for it, right? Like now the debunkers have already convinced all these people that these videos have been debunked. Now they're going to go ahead and institute this rule. But, you know, before, when it was literally a propaganda war, just trying to convince people not to look at it, they didn't care at all. Just weird, man. Really weird. Butters Kennedy checking in. Butters Kennedy has the best dog videos. I like him. Actually, there's a person named Eve. I don't know if it's the same Eve that's in our chat, but she has really good animal videos too. It's one of my guilty pleasures is sitting there and watching dog videos and animal videos that are cute. Cheers me up. I love animals. My channel, that's not the appropriate terminology. I think we use regarded. They are very regarded. Just kidding, guys. Wasn't just kidding. People ask me this a lot. Were the videos debunked? If I thought the videos were debunked, I don't think I would be sitting here reporting on them still, guys. So whether or not you want to think the videos are debunked, I'm really not interested in trying to convince people in general. What I'll say is that we had a $150,000 bounty that nobody collected, and all we needed was the hoaxer to come forward with the videos, with the source work. And they never came forward, so do I think they're debunked? No. Oh, yeah, and that's the other point I wanted to bring. I'm glad somebody mentioned that. So going back to all the negative comments about me and the YouTubers and all this stuff saying like, oh, why won't he just move on, move on? Like, I've been 100% clear about the stipulations since the beginning. You don't decide when I move on. I said that you needed to come forward, find the hoaxer, have them bring the source files of their work. There's no way they would have got rid of these masterpieces and all the work they put into it, right? If somebody still had cloud pictures from 13 years ago, right, then the person that made these videos 100% would have that work somewhere. So find that person, collect $150,000, then I'll move on, right? Or better yet, let's get a statement from the government. Doesn't everybody just want to find the answer one way or another? It feels like the debunkers don't really want the answer. They just want people to stop looking at it. Why aren't the debunkers finding the hoaxer? I've been asking for like 4 months. Why are the debunkers not asking the government to issue a statement? If you think the videos are fake, like, don't you want the government to come in and shoot me down? Like, why don't the government just come in and say that that's not our MQ-1C Gray Eagle? That's not our SIBRS system. Shouldn't that be very, very easy for them to make that statement? Shouldn't we all agree that that's what they want to do? Kim did not put any time limit. His was only about $100,000. So Kim put in $100,000, and then 2 people put in $20,000 and $25,000, and then I threw in another $5,000, which rounds it to $150,000. Nobody has been paid out. No hoaxer came forward that had any evidence of it. There was, I think, 2 or 3 people that lied about potentially making them that had no evidence for it and weren't believable at all. Their post history kind of showed that they were not definitely the people that hoaxed the videos. So I just want to get that out of there, make sure that that's clear. Any other questions I need to address? This was pretty funny, though. I just thought, huh. Also, boy, these guys really hate Punjabi Batman. They really hate Punjabi Batman a lot. How come it's not going back to the subreddit? Oh, also there's some, I don't know, man. People are going back and forth about EXIF data, and it's all way over my head. I mean, we already showed that the clouds are moving and evolving, so it doesn't really matter to me about this cloud debunk that's out there, but there's been people doing forensic analysis on these photos showing discrepancies in the EXIF data, and I'm just not technical enough to really understand it. And again, everybody's just kind of like talking past each other, so I don't know. I may look at that later. Probably not. Don't really care. Let's see. So, and one thing I did post, what I'll say, is that people think that it's a conspiracy theory that the CIA might have tools that can make a fake cloud picture. Like, we posted that the WikiLeaks, the Vault 7 WikiLeaks, they 100% have access to everybody's computers out there. They have backdoors into everything. They have backdoors into my smart TV and your smart TV. And if you have any devices plugged in, like, they can access that. Like, they've probably been watching. They probably can listen to my phone anytime they want, right? Like, people got to realize, like, what the capabilities of the CIA is. It's pretty good. Now, you may say, okay, well, you're being a conspiracy theorist. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm literally talking about the biggest conspiracy ever. I feel like they would do literally anything to hide this. One last piece of irony. Oh, is this Punjabi Batman again? I think it might be. I like how he just keeps making new accounts. They keep banning him, and he just keeps making new accounts. It's pretty funny. I think he was trying to line up the satellite pictures. I don't think it's really going to be possible. They're not at the same angle. We have no idea what the angle of satellite pictures is either. So, and I'm talking about the Chinese satellite pictures. It's going to be tough. But somebody, I don't know where it was. There was, I think it was that Tony Adams guy. The irony is they make fun of Punjabi Batman for like doing these cloud images and stuff like this. And I want to say a few days ago, the Tony Adams guy was he was like imagining lines in the satellite video that weren't there, and imagining like this is where they spliced together the pictures and stuff like that. And he's just literally like making up stuff that's not even there. Like I just thought it was so ironic that they were doing the exact same thing that they argue that Punjabi Batman does, which is like supposedly like imagine stuff in the pictures that aren't there. Pretty funny, man. Okay, I think that's enough Reddit. Reddit bores me, chat. Okay, what else we got? At least now with the new rule, I don't think they'll be making any more defamatory, like off the deep end posts about me, I hope. We'll see, though. We'll see. Okay. FOIAs. Okay, so I did some new FOIAs today, guys. I'm not messing around anymore, chat. I am not messing around anymore. How many FOIAs did we do today? What I'll do is I'll take a screenshot. Let's do a little screenshot action. Okay, 9 new FOIA requests today, guys. 9 new FOIAs. We have FOIA'd, so I've FOIA'd Homeland Security and the CIA for anything they have related to me since the beginning of this investigation from August until now. Because I want to know if they're monitoring me at all or they're watching any of my stuff. And I think this is a big brain move because I expect that I'll get back that they don't have anything, right? That's what, if they're not monitoring me, that's what I would hope. And I really hope I get back nothing in this case. Now, the part about Homeland Security, the reason why these are a little bit odd, because I don't know exactly how these agencies work, but Homeland Security has like 20 different sub-agencies. So I FOIA'd like some kind of intelligence version of them, which I think is where the information would be if they have it. CIA, I think, works out of, it's supposed to be international, but I'm not really sure if they have limits. So I don't know. Just to be safe, I FOIA'd both of them. I FOIA'd Homeland Security for anything about MH370 from December through March. Oh, no, December through June, just to be safe, because I wanted to make sure I covered the time span where the videos emerged as well. So I FOIA'd the Homeland Security for MH370. I FOIA'd, and all the rest of these are all the same exact FOIA. So the wording was, I'll tell you guys the wording. So the first one from myself was, I'm requesting all documents related to Ashton Forbes, a private U.S. citizen who's been investigating missing flight MH370 from August 7th, 2023 through February 6th, 2024. And then for the other ones, they're all the same as well. The agencies that I FOIA'd were Homeland Security, CIA, NRO, NSA, DIA, which is the Defense Intelligence Agency, the Air Force, and the Navy. I FOIA'd all of them. And I said, I'm requesting all documents related to Malaysian Airlines Flight 370, also known as MH370, from the dates of December 1st, 2013 through June 1st, 2014. Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 is the plane that went missing on March 8th, 2014. I FOIA'd all of them. I probably should FOIA the FBI as well. Good call. We'll probably send that one in later tonight. Let me write it down. Anybody else you guys think I missed? Oh, yeah, maybe I'll FOIA them for myself as well. Good call, good call. I think they can take a long time. I mean, I expect most of them to get rejected. All the MH370 ones I expect to get rejected. But we'll see. Anybody else I need a FOIA? So what I want to do is I want to collect FOIAs that are being rejected in the interest of national security. Because why would there be any national security stuff related to this, right? The problem with Department of Energy is what am I going to FOIA them about? They're not going to have anything related to MH370. Department of Energy, we would FOIA for like, well, maybe we will. You know, maybe we will just to be safe. Maybe we'll add them in there as well. Because maybe if those orbs are related to the Department of Energy somehow, even indirectly. Yeah, I just told you what it is, you guys. So there's a website. I think I have it on my favorites. Hold on. Guys, it's super easy to FOIA stuff. No, I think it's just Navy. But here, you can see. Let's check. So they have this website that lets you FOIA any of the agencies. So you just look up. Yeah, there's no naval intelligence. It's just Navy. And if you get one like Homeland Security, you'll realize that there's like all these sub-agencies underneath it as well. So I did Office of Intelligence and Analysis. What if I should do the Inspector General for Edward C. Lynn? Maybe. I think we're going to do Inspector General as well. Okay. Yeah, I'll probably do those as well. It's really easy to send FOIAs in. So once you click on one of these, I'll show you how easy it is. So let's just say I were to do the Inspector General. It tells you how long it normally takes depending on the complexity of your request here. And you do continue request, start request, and then you fill out your personal information, which I'm not going to do right here. And then you get down here and you type in your request here, right? So if I'm doing this template, I just copy and paste this in there. And then the rest, like the reality of this other stuff is every single time I've asked for a waiver for the fees, they've always rejected it. Every time I ask for expedited processing, they always reject it. So I've stopped even requesting that. I don't care how long it takes. And normally for the amount, I just put in $250. They've never made me pay a cent, so I don't know. If it's really complex, they might try to charge you. Edward C. Lynn is not incarcerated. You will not get anything for satellite imagery. So what I want to do is I want to get information. I want to FOIA stuff that we should be able to get or shouldn't exist. If you try to FOIA satellite imagery, we know it's gonna exist, and we know they're not gonna give it to us no matter what. So it doesn't give us any answers, right? But if we FOIA MH370 and they reject it, now we know they have information related to MH370, right? And why is it hidden? Why would there be any hidden information? It should just be straight up, right? So that's what we're like, learning information by using these FOIAs. I'm collecting them like Pokemon cards, chat. I never had any Pokemon cards, just in case you're wondering. I know I've said I played Pokemon before, but I never played the Pokemon cards or whatever. Okay. Okay, let me check what else I was going to go over here tonight. We are going to post some science as well. We're probably going to be posting some Roy D. Herbert science from Martin. I think his last name's Gibson. Could be wrong. And that's going to probably be tomorrow. And we are also going to post, I think Roy D. Herbert has some, or not, sorry, Bob Greenier, I think, has some stuff for us too that we want to go over. So probably some science is going to be coming tomorrow. It's a little sad that the science gets the least amount of views, but it's probably the most important stuff. Sorry, I'm looking through my notes. Man, I had questions for. I was asked on the podcaster the other day. It was the People I Find Interesting podcast with Tony. And he asked me if it's okay if Stephen Greenstreet or Mick West join, and I said sure. I actually had questions ready to go, and they didn't show up. Stephen Greenstreet, I think I can get along with Stephen Greenstreet, no problem, right? Mick West, not a big fan of. I will say this for Mick West. I'm sorry that I said he's going to go to hell. That was probably a little rude of me. But I will reiterate that debunking a video that technically may implicate what happened to 239 people, to me, rises to the level of seditious conspiracy. right? If you are hiding that and you are some way, anyway, even indirectly being told to do anything related to that, then to me, that's hard prison time. That's hard prison time. And I mean, we've already got the precedent. January 6th, the precedent was set in terms of seditious conspiracy. So I would just say tread lightly. Tread lightly. Okay, let's do some more stuff. Oh, I think we have one more Reddit post we're going to look at here. And then we may dig into some science here. We're making good time. I'm trying to keep these streams pretty streamlined here. And I'm probably not going to do as much work on the stream. Just because I think at this point you guys know I'm transparent about it and it seems a little bit boring. I don't want you guys to be bored while you're watching. Okay. Two pretty weird things that happened here. This must have been one of Punjabi's accounts because it's deleted. But whoever did this, they found some interesting information, which was Inmarsat announced that the lead satellite operator working on MH370 had suddenly died of a heart attack. Okay. Where's the heart attack part? I think it was this guy. Wait, who was it? What was the heart attack one? Let me find it. Inmarsat heart attack. Oh, wow. This is going to be hard to find, huh? They scrubbed this? So somebody died, and then I'll have to find that. I thought this had it in there, but maybe not. Hold on. Oh, here it is. Quote from this article. Here it is. Here we go. Wait. What? Key member. It doesn't say. Oh, here it is. Okay. As Inmarsat put all its resources at the disposal of the international investigation team to try and narrow the search area, personal tragedy struck Dickinson and his team. Dickinson and a colleague flew to Kuala Lumpur to brief the investigative team at the end of the first week. On his way back, Dickinson was meant to fly from Kuala Lumpur to Los Angeles via Heathrow early in the second week. As he landed, he found out a key member of his operations team, one of the satellite coordinators, had suddenly died overnight. The team was already working overtime and being in such closely knit group, the tragedy hit him hard. Dickinson abandoned his plans to go to Los Angeles and went back to work. He reflects back saying it was an unusual and sad time. Well, that's weird. That's pretty damn weird. Yeah, and then Bill, we're going to get to that part too. So in addition to that, which is pretty damn bizarre, then some retired General Robert Clear from the United States gets appointed as an additional non-executive director of Inmarsat on March 20th, 2014. What? 1 week after the plane went missing? So the Inmarsat's directly connected to the U.S. military. Directly connected to the U.S. military. They've got a retired general that joined the board. Look at the date, March 20th, 2014. What? Oh, we're definitely posting about this tomorrow, chat. Oh, you're in Langkawi right now? Langkawi's beautiful. I also need to correct that I used to be saying that it was Penang, Langkawi, but those are two different places. Easy to confuse. Two islands, pretty close to one another. Langkawi's a little bit further north. I've actually been to both of them. I've been to Langkawi and I've been to Penang before. Penang is the place where I stayed at a hotel that was literally slanted. It was the scariest hotel I've ever been in my life. When you get into open the door, it felt like you might roll out and fly out the balcony. And we didn't stay there, though. My parents were like, no, we're not doing this. Yeah, so Inmarsat's shady as hell, chat. Super, super shady. Let's read this. General Clear retired from the Air Force in January 2014 with over 38 years of service. So he retires right before the plane goes missing. So he had just retired 2 months before. Now, remember back to the letter to Ashton Forbes that they said that They knew about the defectors in December of 2013. Pretty weird, man. Pretty weird. Prior to his retirement, he served as commander of the U.S. Strategic Command from January 2011 through November 2013. In that position, he was directly responsible to the President and Secretary of Defense for the plans and operations of all U.S. forces conducting strategic deterrence. What does that mean? And Department of Defense space and cyberspace operations. Prior to that assignment, he served as commander of the Air Force to Space Command from October 2007 to January of 2011. So this was like basically before Space Force was a thing. Man, maybe we should be looking into this guy. As commander of the Air Force Space Command, General Keller, am I saying his name right? Keller? Oh, Keller probably, right? Keller. General Keller was responsible for the development, acquisition, and operation of the Air Force's space and missile systems. Man, maybe we need to be looking into this guy. He oversaw a global network of satellite command and control, communications, missile warning, and launch facilities. He's the SBIRS guy. And ensured that the command readiness of America's intercontinental ballistic missile force. Over his career, Keller served in a variety of important operational staff assignments, successfully led large operations with global responsibilities. Chat, this is weird. Now that I know more about SBIRS, he would have been the guy who was in charge of it. SBIRS got turned online in 2013. NROL 39 came online in December of 2013, I think, or early 2014. SBIRS came online fully operational in 2013 as well. No, my channel, we can't FOIA anything related to private companies. Probably not. Yeah, I guess you can for naval intelligence. I'm not sure how that all works. Goes onto the board of Inmarsat right after... Wait, somebody else died? Did somebody else die when you replaced him? Oh, you mean the random Inmarsat guy? I don't think the Inmarsat guy was on the board of directors, though. The Inmarsat guy was just a controller, right? Lower level guy. Oh, yes. Okay, so Stuart James Feinburn's the one who died. He dies 3 days? That's when he died? March 17th? Wait, he died March 17th? Damn, this is wild, dude. I'm actually surprised I haven't reported on this yet. Yeah, we're definitely going to report on this tomorrow, guys. We're definitely reporting this. I don't know about the AIDS virus stuff. I think that's nonsense. So one thing as well, that there was a weird 4chan post that claimed to know what happened. It was talking about Diego Garcia and the plane getting stripped to parts of there. And one of the comments that claimed to be that same person was saying that intelligence communities know how conspiracy theorists act, and so they'll throw out red herring conspiracy theories to get people to think about that. Like, I really think that the whole AIDS researcher thing and the patent thing that's out there, I think those are maybe even put out there by intelligence communities, because if conspiracy theories focus on that, then they're not focusing on the real conspiracy. And they're going to get ridiculed as well because they make it something that's silly that can be easily debunked, right? As opposed to the truth, which is a lot harder to debunk. Just something to keep in mind, guys. So especially for my conspiracy-minded followers, and I know there's a lot of you out there, you need to be extra skeptical in terms of, is the conspiracy that you're following something that has a lot of evidential support for it? Or is it something that's really like a he said, she said thing? Like, dig into it. Because when you dig into the patents, you realize that the individuals do not own the patents. The company does, right? And S23, I will say, I don't like to talk about Pizzagate or other conspiracies, but it's a little bit like that, right? Where they ridicule it, they distort it so that it doesn't address the facts that people make. I think even the 9/11 conspiracy theory people as well will say, like, oh, you talk about the Jewish space lasers or whatever, as opposed to people talking about like the controlled demolition or stuff that's a lot more grounded in reality, right? And yeah, so we want to be very skeptical. If you're going to be a conspiracy theorist, you should still be very skeptical of all claims and what have you. Yeah. But that's why I only believe in Ripple Moon a little bit. You know, it's a little, it's jokingly, right? When I talk about Ripple Moon stuff, I just think it's pretty funny, right? A conspiracy like that's harmless, right? Like the idea that there's a weird ripple on the moon, like, oh, so what, right? I'm not saying that the moon is fake or something, but it's a harmless conspiracy theory. It doesn't hurt anybody. It's pretty fun. Yep. So Ripple Moon. Let's attack Ashton because he believes in Ripple Moon. Everybody. Honestly, ironically enough, there apparently are space lasers. You guys want to see this? Somebody found the video and they posted it on Reddit earlier today. One of the only subreddits I actually track, I think it's Strange Earth. Let me see. Oh yeah, here it is. Look, I think this is real. I remember seeing this several months ago. I tried to track this down on Wall Street Apes. It must have been from a while ago. But I remember seeing this. They're actually using, look, this is a real laser system. Look at that. This is the anti-missile system. The Iron Dome, I think it's called. They're actually using lasers. Oh, yeah, it says right there, Iron Beam. They're actually using lasers to shoot down rockets. This seems completely plausible to me. Look at that. That's crazy. That looks pretty real to me. I kind of want to strip this video. I feel like this is a good video to have. I'm gonna steal this. I want to make sure I put this somewhere where I can get back to it at some point in the future. I'm gonna put it in my conspiracy section that I have for stuff that's not related to MH370. I also have another video, chat, that is pretty wild, a UFO one. I'm gonna show it to you guys if I can find it. Oh yeah, here we go. I need to strip this one too. I wonder if this gets disappeared. This is probably one of the crazy. I think this got debunked as being a flare, but you can tell this is not a flare. It doesn't even move. Are you guys ready for this? This is over Tehran, and Iran is shooting air defenses, surface-to-air defenses at this object in the sky. This is July 13th, 2023. This is before the case or anything like that. I remember seeing this going, oh, I'm saving this. Can you hear? Is there sound? No, there's no sound. Look at it. Does that look like a flare to you? It's not moving. You can actually see some of the missiles hit right next to it here, or whatever they're shooting there. Like, you can tell these things, some of them are going past it, some of them are in front of it. This is one of the craziest videos I've ever seen in UFOlogy. It looks like they're shooting at a UFO. Like, that munitions is definitely real. And if this is a flare, how come there's no smoke? Like, it's illuminated, so you should see the smoke trail pretty clearly. And then it just disappears. Like, and here's the thing, too. Why are they, if this is a flare, why are they practicing over the capital city? This is Tehran. This is the capital of Iran. They're shooting active munitions over the capital? Weird, man. Is that pretty crazy? Anyway, that's a fun little video. 2 fun little videos for you guys tonight. Yeah, people probably saw that back over the last summer. Yeah, and this is the thing, too. So it goes back to my points earlier about the debunkers need to step up their game, right? Like, nothing, you got to have a logical argument. Like, why are they shooting at a flare? Are those skydivers with fireworks coming out of them too? Yeah, isn't it? It seems dangerous, right? Couldn't the munitions fail and then fall and blow somebody up? So this is where, like, I'm all on board with debunking stuff, but like, let's set the bar a little bit higher. So let's real quickly, let's criticize both sides real quick, guys. I think we can do that. Both sides hate the hell out of us anyway. So let's start with the debunkers and the skeptics. Debunkers and skeptics need to come up with some new explanations. And not just new explanations, but I want them to also come up with actual stories as well. Like, oh, Iran was shooting a flare up because they were practicing their anti-missile stuff in their capital city that night, right? At night as well. Like, you know, give us a full story. That's all I'm saying. Give me a full story. Maybe come up with some non-incoherent arguments. Come up with maybe some new arguments as well. Like, it gets a little tired when we just keep going back to the same three things over and over and over again, right? Okay, now from the UFO believer side, our UFOologists, can some UFOologists do some actual work? I feel like 99% of the UFOologists do no work whatsoever, no research whatsoever. It's literally just posting other people's stuff and then opining on it. Like, that's just, it's like either the drama or I'm just going to give my opinion on this or on that, right? How about go do some actual work and investigation? At least John Greenwald's doing FOIAs to people. I mean, he might be getting fed information and stuff like that, but at least he's doing some actual work out there, right? At least Stephen Greenstreet's putting together some debunk stuff that's out there, right? I feel like we're like the only people in ufology actually like putting a case together for content that's out there, right? Everybody's just been waiting around to be told what to think. So those are my criticisms for both sides. Let's see. So now they can both equally hate us. Okay, should we do a little science? I think we still got a little bit of time left, I think. How long have we been going? Where's my list? Okay, yeah. Definitely not going over 2 hours. I might post those videos later, but I don't know. Also, just for the record, I'm not pivoting to anything else. I just am interested in other stuff as well. I'm probably going to make at least one more post on the Putin interview. I actually can't wait to watch that because I think it's very, very important that we listen to both sides of every argument, especially in UFOlogy, but everywhere else as well. And I want to hear from Putin's mouth, what is his rationale for invading Ukraine? I don't think a lot of people realize that Ukraine was actually part of the Soviet Union. I think that interview might be coming out like tonight or tomorrow. But Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union. Us like helping out Ukraine is like if Texas broke off from the United States and Russia was helping out Texas. Like, that's like the equivalent. Like, Ukrainian people are like basically they're Slavic people. Like, they're closely related to the Russian people. Like, it's kind of absurd that we're like intervening in the war to begin with, and it's clearly a proxy war. Like, can we all just agree that it's clearly a proxy war, right? I think, can't we just make peace with people? Like, why do we have to be against Russia? Why do we have to be against China? Like, can't we just all be on the same team and make the world a better place? Like, I don't know why that's controversial. It's crazy. Let's see. Okay, I think we're ready for science. Let me look. Okay, so you can see here I posted about star in the jar. Okay, let's see what should we look up here? We got a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. Yeah, I feel like it's all about money, selling weapons. Yeah, you guys get it. Distracting people, like people are dying. I want to know how many people are dying too. We're so misinformed in the United States about the wars. Like, they don't tell us anything about how many people are dying in it. It's like all just misinformation, disinformation. Okay, I think we want to look a little bit at bubble cavitation. Maybe we want to look at vortex tubes. So what I want to know is I want to know more about plasmoids and probably EVOs. So if anyone's got any good stuff on that, I think I want to take a quick look at that before we close out tonight. And then we may do a more science-focused stream tomorrow. The star in the jar stuff was really cool. Like, really cool. I don't know if vortex tube is even going to find what I want. Oh, okay. I stand corrected. What is a vortex tube used for? Okay, that doesn't get what I want to get to. Well, maybe. What do you guys think? Any smarts in the chat tonight? Where's Hermes? We haven't heard from Hermes in a while, man. A vortex tube, easy engineering. Oh boy, that looks like a...
Hi, welcome to Easy Engineering. We're going to continue with the vortex tube.
Let's look up plasmoids. Did that say Minecraft? Oh, look at this. Look who it is. Randall, right there. Well, that's weird. Huh. First hit. There's the guy right there. Randall Carlson. I really respect Randall Carlson in sacred geometry and prehistoric history, but this is outside his ken. Huh. Plasmid vacuum bubbles. Plasmoid technology could have been used by ancient cultures. First successful build out of a plasmid engine. How this technology will affect the world. I would watch, but I don't want to give Danny any extra clicks and views. So we might have to figure something else out. They monitor plasmoids, which form Earth's streamlined magnetosheath downstream from our planet in the solar wind. Whoa. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, this is the gray-bearded man, by the way. Pretty weird find, right? That's the gray-bearded man right there from the letter. Actually, you know what? Maybe we'll save the science for tomorrow. Let's read through the rest of this though. I think I watched this one, the thunderstorm generator. This guy's like an engineer. I think he's famous. I watched this as well, where he basically says like the engineering works, but he thinks that it doesn't work in the way that it's being made out to be. Not sure. Have I done research into Bendel? Yeah. Malcolm Bendel? Yeah, I have. Yeah. Oh, yeah, here it is right here. I think he's legit, guys. I think that Bendel's legit. I don't want to go into too much detail, but I am planning on being at a conference this summer that he might be at, as well as some other people. And yeah, I think he's legit, is what I'll say to you guys. I don't really want to divulge too much other stuff, but I've been talking to people, and I think he's like legit. Like, I think the devices have been checked out. I think there's very powerful people that are looking into these types of devices. And what I'll say is, supposedly these devices can completely reduce or eliminate the emissions from a gas-powered vehicle. Completely eliminate the emissions. Not just reduce it by a lot, but like completely gone. You can take the CO2, pump it back through the system, and it not only, I think, increases the efficiency, but also reduces the emissions entirely. This is like the level of like the, what's it called, the water-powered cars type technology. Pretty huge. Apparently, these are already being in use, like plugged into the grid kind of stuff. Pretty wild, man. Some pretty bold claims, but it's verifiable stuff. So again, like a lot of this stuff, and the other thing too is that there's a lot of different implications for this technology. So what I'm really wondering is this the framework for the technology, like the base level metastructure that, or monostructure that's being talked about in the letter to me? I don't know. Seems like a good candidate if there is a monostructure. Yeah, Cosmic Summit. I'm a little worried to talk about it. There's gonna be a lot of smart people in all the right place. I don't want any planes to be getting orbed, guys. If you add that stuff to water injection, ethanol-based fuels, hydrogen power, you have zero emission and totally efficient. Yeah, pretty weird, man. Pretty weird. Oh yeah, so it says the person explaining the diagram states that pre-ionized air goes into a diffuser bubbler, which contains tap water. The bubbles cavitate to create mini plasmoids. Star in the jar, anybody? Then they go to the thunderstorm generator or vortex tube, which has a special geometry. The plasmoids go into a conventional engine, which can generate electricity or mechanical power. The exhaust apparently comes out clean and has some special properties. It's pretty bold claims, but apparently people have researched some of this stuff. I don't have any plans to redo the Corsetti interview. The the timing of the Jimmy Corsetti interview was really bad because it was like the same day that the cloud debunk came out, so we didn't even have time to address it. But I felt like I left my opinions pretty open-ended on that one, so I'm not too worried about it. So I think my question is, I want to know more about plasmoids, and I want to know about, I don't, let's see if we can read any more stuff. What's a medium? Whoa, this was recently. Okay, maybe we are doing a little bit of science here, chat. First peer-reviewed publication: water can trigger nuclear reactions to produce energy. This is Bob Greenier's paper. I can already recognize this is Bob Greenier's paper right here, chat. Watch this. Bob Greenier's gonna be listed on this paper. There he is. Bob Greenier. Holy crap, chat. Whoa. Guys, wow. Yeah, we are really, honestly, we are talking about science that the public has no idea even exists out there. And people wonder, how can you keep it secret? Well, look, we literally Google the thing and we get back to a paper from Bob Greenier. First peer-reviewed publication. There it is. Water can trigger nuclear action to produce energy and isotope gases. We might need to read this better. I just took a summary that Bob Greenier gave me, and it's like I'm just catching up to the science, right? Like just catching up to it and understanding it. And I didn't even understand this like a month ago. This was what, a little over a month ago? And I was like, hey, Bob, can you send me a summary? And so I kind of edited the summary a little bit just to fix up some of the syntax, but basically kept it. I think this basically shows that over unity is possible as well. That's the thing. That's why this paper is so important. But you look at this and you're like, how's a normal person going to be able to understand this, right? We might have to check this out. Yeah, here you go. Does anyone know why I can't pin stuff? Why can't I pin stuff? Or is it just my own post that I can't pin? Oh, okay. Yeah, I can pin chat. I'm unbanned from pinning messages. It was only like 3 months of not being able to pin messages. I pinned it to the top so you guys can check it out later. I think we might end there, actually. Let me see. How late is it? Let's listen to the letter to Ashton Forbes one more time. I want to listen to it one more time with you guys. We've never been copyright striked for watching it, which is weird. And I haven't checked the channel out in several days. And then I'm going to end a little early. I'm going to try to address some emails. But here's the paper on this. Let's actually check this out first real quick. Let's see. This post delves into the phenomena observed within a thunderstorm generator device based on the Rank-Hilsch vortex tube, which unexpectedly exhibited signs of potential nuclear transmutation and coherent matter phenomenon. Coherent matter phenomenon. Study of coherent matter phenomenon typically requires ultra-cold temperatures and precise quantum state manipulation. However, recent experimental setups suggest that similar phenomena may be accessible through alternative means involving fluid dynamics and thermodynamics. We explore how the synergy of extreme temperature gradients, cavitation, vortex dynamics, and electrodynamics could be creating conditions conducive to atomic changes and possibly to coherent matter phenomenon. Wow. Okay, I think we're going to let's save this for tomorrow. Let's do some science stream tomorrow. Okay, guys, if you want, I'm going to post both these in here. We're going to review this tomorrow a little bit more in depth, guys. So if you guys want, check that out. We are going to listen to the letter to Ashton Forbes one more time on YouTube. And then we're going to close it out after that. Tomorrow we'll dig into science. And I'm going to understand all this. I'm going to read through it tonight, see if I can wrap my brain around it, figure out how this works. I have a feeling this might be a secret to what we're trying to figure out. Yeah, what's creepy is how this channel went dark. I assume it's still dark. Let's find out. Real world creepy. Yeah, it just completely went dark. That's what's weird. That is very weird. Because it rules out that they were trying to piggyback off of us, right? They just went dark. Huh.
This is a submission.
I also agree. It does feel like... So I was talking to some other people, too. They're potentially connected to these videos. And the growing opinion is that it's either a super fan, like one of you guys, that somehow knew about Malcolm Bendall and knew about Randall Carlson and stuff, people that I didn't even know existed before this video. Or it's some kind of weird intel op. Could be a foreign country, could be our country, I had no idea, right? Either way, it's a great damn letter. It's a great letter. This is the creepiest shit I've ever had in my life. I mean, it's just weird. Here we go.
Sent to us the 8th of January of 2024. It's a letter to an Ashton Forbes telling a new story of what happened to Malaysian Airlines MH370 that disappeared back in 2014. And as always, don't trust what you read on the news. Trust your own capability to see the world for what it really is.
It's weird that he says, as always, don't trust what you see in the news. Also, we found out the voice as well. There's other videos that people have found that have this exact voice, which is pretty weird. I don't know if they used AI as well or if the other ones are the real guy or not. There's 2 different videos as well.
Here we go.
I work or have worked at a military base in the Maldives, and I know exactly what happened to Malaysian Airlines MH370. This is also a letter to Ashton Forbes. You are not wrong, and what you do are much bigger than you even can imagine. Don't stop what you are doing. I won't tell anything about myself more than that I currently or in the past has spent time at a military base in the Maldives.
So for the people who said, how did I find this? I've said it multiple times, but somebody pinged me. You can actually find in the MH370X community, someone pinged me on it and said, have you seen this video? And I watched it and I went, what the F? I mean, once I saw the name of it, I was freaked out, but not in like a bad way. It was pretty damn weird, so.
That I have done this type of work since I joined the military when I was young, and that was many decades ago. Still in the game, but the years are starting to get to me. I write this because I want the world to know that most of the trouble on Earth are created for political reasons. United States, or at least a covert administrative elite of the U.S., has, at will, complete control, and this has been true since the 60s. Flight MH370 arrived at our base, by our hand, at 1856 UTC after we picked it up, mid-air, outside the island of Great Nicobar. Just one of many, many things we do. We can pick up anything, anywhere, and deliver it in an instant, like a magic FedEx. Some facts about why it happened. MH370 had defectors on board. They were running to China with American technology. They are Chinese by blood and had gotten themselves into a situation with the Chinese regime who got them to choose to defect. The whole play, everything, and I mean everything about it, was a political play to show the Chinese who's their daddy. That's us. Some facts about how it happened. All passengers are dead, all but the handful of deflectors. The plane did not crash. The plane was on fire, we know because we started it. The plane was picked up by us, on fire, mid-air, right in front of the Chinese. The Chinese regime knows exactly what happened, and that was the whole point of the operation. Okay, this is what I want to share with you. As I said, I have been doing this for a long time. I know the technology and have been a part of hundreds of operations. So let's start with the tech. The foundation is not superconductivity. Superconductivity is a product of the technology. We have had this since the 1960s, and from that first day we have used it to make sure that no one else can have it. The big breakthrough to apply the tech as we do today came in the beginning of the 2000s with quantum computers, and by this, the paradigm for AI technology. What we had to do programmatically before we now can do with something akin to machine intuition. This lets us operate in fast-moving environments where event-based logic in linear programming was very limited. As I said, what you have found is not the technology itself, it's just one of many derivatives of the technology. I encourage you to keep on with what you are doing, but you should also be aware that there is a deeper layer that you could focus on instead of the Miami aliens that I see you have been posting about. I will give you some pointers for this at the end of this letter. The products or application you are now working on is correctly based on superconductivity. The number of orbs you've been speculating about is correct. The fourth orb decides where the object ends up. The technology is based on structures, simple and beautiful structures that lets us use the unlimited power that is everywhere and step outside what I would like to describe as perceived reality. The structure that is used for what you are looking at is a metastructure that creates a low complexity and relative low energy phase transition. The beauty of this technology lies in its elegance and simplicity. The structures are inherently stable and self-regulating, and the earlier challenges to conduct operations were 100% based on the limits of man. With the same technology, just a slightly altered monostructure gives us an infinite power generator that without maintenance can run forever. Combine structures to a meta-product again, and you have the propulsion for a transmedium object moving faster than light. It's the definition of magic. There are endless applications, and the truth is that it would change the world in an instant. But that won't happen. I bet yourself, or at least most of your audience, have heard a version of the story that the aliens are here and they want to bless us with new, clean, and revolutionary technology, but we are a too young and rowdy civilization and would not be able to be responsible enough with the gifts from them. That's probably made up, but that is at the same time completely true. It's just not aliens saying this. It's us again. The technology is infinite in its power, and if two rivaling parties had access to it, this world wouldn't last a day. The same technology, with a combination of monostructures, makes a terrifying weapon that turns any matter into dust, and that dust turns into air. It does not matter if the object is a small bird or an aircraft carrier. It cannot be stopped. It does not miss. And when the object has been hit, the phasing cannot be stopped. Okay, so back to MH370. We knew about the deflectors as soon as they made their decision. Well before that, but then they weren't deflectors. Anyway, we knew when, how, and why back in December, and as we do, we made it into politics. We let them go. We took them back and sent the Chinese a clear message of who is in control. And we did this with a brilliantly produced show that is fit for a Hollywood production. Any good movie has fire, desperation, regret, and drama. And every movie villain should see their plan fall apart. And in really good movies, just when the villain has accepted that the plan has failed, the heroes of the movie steps in and makes it worse. This is what happened. As soon as we knew what plane was the last leg of their journey, we planned and delivered, so the plane was loaded up with lithium-ion batteries, built by us for this occasion. Lithium-ion batteries cannot be put out, has a predictable burn rate, and we made sure that the volume was just right for a long burn that would allow for a full-length show. The Chinese were following the plane since it was on the tarmac and got to see their most close-to-success operation go up in flames. And just as all hope was lost, we made it worse. Right in front of their eyes, 2 hours and 13 minutes in, they saw the plane get phased out of there by the same technology they were trying to get access to. And 5 days later, the Chinese officially made a gesture of submissiveness by publishing a frame from the satellite of the phase moment via the State Administration for Science. The publishing was talked about in American newspapers as a possible debris field. But when you know what you are looking at, it's clear what the frame shows. The aftermath.
That part's really weird about the, I'll look that up in a bit. That's really weird about the whole, like, the frame thing from the satellite pictures. That's just very bizarre. That is, like, information that I feel like nobody, like, we first put that together. We speculated on that. Like, that's just really bizarre, man.
Path. During the 5 days after the show, the Chinese found out about the batteries, that we both made and placed them on the plane. They accepted that we have been playing with them the whole time and at the same time could accept that the people they had convinced to deflect did what they wanted. It was us that stopped them. The deflectors had a good corrective experience when it comes to staying loyal and were back on the job as usual, but with a new understanding both of their importance and the consequences of their actions. What was nothing more than another Friday at the office for the administrative elite, 200 people had the most confusing death experience you could imagine. 1,500 people lived a tragedy, losing family members in a mystery, and 10,000s spent months searching and millions speculating for years. Then in 2014, military footage of the event got published on YouTube. Not our problem. The person responsible for the leak was identified and taken care of. Not by us, not our problem. Then came you. Hi, Ashton. Impressive. This is what I want to leave you with. There was a guest on the Joe Rogan podcast that was talking about sacred geometry and some new technology his friends had discovered on some island somewhere.
So weird.
He did record another episode, but it never been published. Doesn't the wording sacred geometry remind you of something? If you choose to spend time on this, which I think you should instead of mall aliens, keep in mind that your case is one product of the technology. What happens on the other island, you will understand this if you pursue it, is another more rudimentary product. What if those in combination could lead you on the right path to the actual technology? The gray-bearded man is the key, and he probably has no idea that he is. Finally, I want to say this. How do you defeat someone who can turn skyscrapers to dust, completely erase whole neighborhoods in an afternoon, and steal a burning Boeing 777 midair? Someone who, when needed, has the complete control of all media and crafts the perception of events and has most of humanity eating from its hands. After almost a full life in their service, I think I know the answer. You talk about them, and you don't stop talking.
That's the weirdest shit ever. So, like, I always get worried when the debunkers say that they think it's us that made the videos, the same way that they think it's us that made the actual MH370 videos, because I didn't make either of those. So that makes me even a little more concerned about it. Guys, Moonwater, how is reality how is reality determined? Is it determined based on popular consensus or not, right? I'm trying to teach you guys to think outside the box, right? So if we're going to think for ourselves, then we're not going to ask questions like, I thought it was determined this was a LARP, or I thought it was determined these were debunked. That's not thinking for yourself. That's asking people to tell you what to think. Think for yourself, right? I wouldn't be playing it if it was somehow proven to be debunked, right? There's no way to prove it to be debunked. If you guys want to go look up the person who pinged me in the MH370 community, go nuts, man. I don't know how that's going to get us anywhere, but feel free. So sorry to be a little bit rude, but that's the thing too. And so here's the thing too. To Amanda's question is, the satellite imagery was supposedly taken in the South Indian Ocean. Actually, it was supposedly taken in the South China Sea. But even so, how would we know that? It's not like China's like, hey, we took this in the South China Sea. And even if they did, that could just be misdirection. They didn't find anything in the South China Sea. So it was reported on as debris, but they didn't find anything there, right? So we have to keep that in mind. Definitely we need to be thinking for ourselves. I think that's the most important thing. Again, I don't know what the deal with it is. Like somebody else pointed out, like Moonwater pointed out, though, like it's either somebody who's following me that knows about Malcolm Bendall and somehow came up with all these unique aspects that I would have never thought of, or it's some kind of weird intelligence operation. Like, that's pretty much what I'm down to at this point. It's super weird. I don't know. I'm not necessarily taking it at face value, but some of the pieces that they put together seem pretty damn compelling for the espionage scenario. We might even be able to FOIA some of that. And that's part of the reason why when I did my FOIA request today, I FOIA'd back from December of 2013. Because I want to know if we can find anything from that. Right? I do think that when they're talking about sacred geometry, they're talking about toroids. They're talking about toroids. And they might be saying that if you take a simple structure, a toroid, and then you turn it into a multi-structure where you add another layer of toroid, so now you turn the donut into a donut, and you keep layering that on, now you can potentially, you know, change the properties of what it's producing. Hard to say. I don't necessarily think that they're talking about 9/11 or the Maui fires, but, you know, I don't know. I don't know what they're talking about. Could be... that's the part where it makes it less credible to me, is when you're trying to link all these conspiracies together, it doesn't seem that good. What I will say is that was not produced by an AI. That is an AI voice, 100%. Probably is a voice changer mixed with some type of translation software based on the follow-up video, but that's not produced by AI. And we know for sure because somebody tried to produce one with AI. That's the other one that some of you guys were talking about that's out there, and it's terrible. It's super, super terrible. You can tell right away that an AI created it. When you do AI stuff, like when we talk to Grok, it has a very specific way of laying out information. And it's only pulling information from stuff that's already out there. A lot of that stuff in there is not anything that we've ever reported on or said specifically. That's why that's not produced by AI. Just to be clear with everybody out there. Now, I don't know if that doesn't necessarily mean anything as to the authenticity or the fakeness of it. I'm just trying to be clear. Feels like there's somebody who's really upset at what we're doing right now and having a complete meltdown on the spamming the laugh emojis. I think they're having a hard time right now. Like, if you wanted to get a reaction, there you go. You got your reaction. So I hope you get the help that you need, person who's spamming the laugh thing. It's probably one of the debunkers who's having a complete meltdown. Feels bad. The thing is, I feel bad for people like that because I was somebody who was once a CNN brain who did not realize that the world is a lot more complicated than I thought. And it's, you know, you'll wake up one day and you're going to realize if you're one of those people who think the world's so simple, you'll probably go through an epiphany at some point in your life and you'll realize how silly you were in the past and it'll be embarrassing for you. And that's another reason why I don't need apologies from anybody or anything like that. I don't really care what people think. It's up to everybody else. Like, one thing too is I have a lot of people, they want to be convinced, right? They want me to, like, you'll see people in my replies that want me to convince them that this stuff's real or whatever, right? And I go, the person that needs to be, you need to convince yourself, right? Like, a lot of people live in a prison of their own making, where only what they see in their own little prison is what can be real, right? The only person that can break you out of that prison is yourself. I can't do it, right? I can present the evidence and show you what I've come to determine and what have you, but the person who takes the first step has to be the person themselves. Like, all of you guys have already taken that first step, no doubt, right? But the people that are out there that are thinking, oh, yep, CNN's telling me the truth and we're never going to advance scientifically, we've already figured everything out related to the universe, like, those people, they have to figure it out themselves, man. That's the truth, just like I did once upon a time. Just what I did. Oh, I can see all the emojis. You can see them in the emojis in the chat, right? Somebody was spamming it like really hard for a long time. So, anyway, and yeah, Benedator, I saw your post, man. I do think that toroids are probably the monostructure that they're talking about. It makes the most sense to me, but I don't really know. Okay, guys, I think that's where we're going to call it here tonight. I appreciate you guys here tonight. So tomorrow, I'm probably going to post, get some of this content ready for tomorrow so that I can not have it interrupt my job. But I'm thinking at least 1 or 2 posts related to this. And then I want to do, what was my follow-up going to be? Oh, yeah, so I've got 3 posts for tomorrow probably. Let me just make some notes. I think we've got the person who died. We got the person who was appointed. General appointed to Immersat. And then the CNN direction thing as a follow-up to the telemetry data. And then also the science. We probably got, so we might have like 5 posts tomorrow already lined up. So we've got the science from Martin, who works with Roy D. Herbert, and potentially new science from Bob Grenier as well. So lots of stuff for tomorrow. I'm probably going to get some of it prepared tonight so I don't have to spend much time on it. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you. And we'll see you guys later. Peace, everybody.